I'm Alan Ross. I'm the managing editor of APC Technologies, and we are here at the NETA, the International Electrical Testing Association, their 2023 Power Tech Conference, doing interviews. My guest with me is the Director of Communications for APC Media, Rachel Linke. Rachel, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, Alan. Would miss it.
We're just going to have an interesting time with all of these people, and tell me what you like best about these interviews.
The best part about these interviews, I feel like, is that it really brings about a lot of great thought leadership, and I really just love how you make everybody feel so comfortable, Alan. You really try to get people to just be comfortable and in their own skin, and then so much great information comes out of it. So
let's see if we made people in the next interview comfortable. Enjoy. My next guest is Bob Shepard. Bob and I met a long time ago. Bob, thank you for joining me.
Absolutely.
Bob was the founder and CEO of Southwest
Energy Systems.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was.
Some time in Phoenix. Bob was one of the most visionary leaders within the NETA family that I met. You kind of taught me a lot about NETA.
Thank you.
Bob, since you've sold that off to Shermco, you were one of the people that I thought had great thought leadership about where the industry is, where the industry is going. There's a lot of challenges we have right now. Supply chain issues are a big challenge. Labor issues are a big challenge. So talk to me a little bit about it. If you were to tell somebody coming into the industry, watch out, beware, there's some challenges. What do you think the biggest one is?
I think the biggest challenge we've always had has been there's been a lack of available technical skilled individuals that really want to come and do this type of work. Because unless you are, kind of a single individual, or you have a lot of support from, your significant other, I mean, I don't know how you would even have a goldfish, because there is a lot of work that's out of town for maybe days, maybe months. So it takes a very special type of individual, much like being in the military, to have this type of a career path. But that is also kind of leads into another thing as to why I have been very passionate about development of our technical people in the field ever since I've been involved with NETA in the early 2000s. And we are very close to coming up with a Department of Labor certified apprenticeship program.
Excellent. That's exactly what we need.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I think the challenge, you can find people, and I always believe in hiring people on their personality and their attitudes. And I've always told people that, I can tell you and I can train you on everything that you need to be successful, but they still need to have that individual fire in the belly, that desire to succeed and to grow into what they need to be. And unfortunately, in our marketplace, there's two ways you can get people. One of which is you can steal them from your competitor.
Which is a lot of what's happening right now.
Or you can grow them internally, because there's only a couple of different locations that you can go to get any of the fundamental skills that we need. Long Beach City College is kind of our poster child for a curriculum that was developed by NETA. Myself leading that charge for that curriculum back in, we were realizing it yesterday, it's been 10 years that we've been working on this. And when you come into this industry, it really is you hope that you gain the knowledge and the skill sets needed to be successful over a period of time. But there really has not been a formal mechanism in place that lets someone do that. And with this apprenticeship program, it allows us to go into the high schools and their trade school days and their career days, and actually put forth a program that says, look, in this amount of time, whether it is in, you have a knowledge base that you have to learn, and you have to have a certain amount of time in the field under supervision and checked off, and this is all goes through NETA, and we're still in I would say some areas we're in the infancy stages. Other areas we pretty much got it wrapped up, but it's building on that foundation of what we've been working on for a while, and it's all very exciting because we're hoping that we can really fulfill the needs of the industry with coming up with a ways and means of getting more people educated and knowledge and up to speed in what we do.
Well, so what we should have is no goldfish owners allowed, right? Because that has been one of the biggest problems, turnover, and then poaching. And poaching, tends to raise the overall cost for everybody, and it doesn't really solve the problem. And at some point, you're at the top part of that. That's brilliant. I really appreciate it. Anything that we can do to support that ongoing, and then when it's announced, I would love you or a group of you to do an interview so that we can get that message out. So that's going to bring up another problem, and that is going to be filtering people into it. You mentioned it about getting into the high schools and doing that. I was involved in the Perkins bill that was $5 billion. It was the only 100% unanimous approved in the Senate and the House, and President Trump signed it.
Nice.
That was the only bill they ever had unanimous, and it was the Perkins bill, which was to do more trade school training, more getting the high schools, getting in the trade schools, which then brings that there is a gap between the high school level and the trade schools. So what does this mean for trade schools? Are they going to be able to be part of the apprenticeship program?
The way that we envision the program working out is NETA, the International Electrical Testing Association, will own the master document.
Okay.
And NETA is not going to administer that document like the IBEW would or NECA or somebody like that. So the individual NETA accredited companies, or realistically anybody that wants to say, hey, we recognize this is a Department of Labor thing, we want to be a part of that, you wouldn't necessarily have to be a part of NETA. It's just that it's focused around being the electrical test technician standards that NETA develops. So it may or may not be applicable. However, as the companies, this becomes available, there'll be an announcement, and we'll try to involve as many people as we can, because it's a big, important deal.
It is.
And what happens is the individual companies will then go to NETA and say, hey, we want to adopt that program as our own. And so they don't have to reinvent the wheel, and they manage that document, they manage their people, they manage the process by themselves with the assistance of NETA as kind of an ad hoc thing. And then they would put their people through their program. Now let's say if somebody leaves their employment and they want to go to another company that also has the same program, that position in where they have achieved is transferable to the next location. So it's not like they put in 2 years and then they just have to start back over again. So I think that's always going to be a huge thing. And really the ability to go to the high schools and offer a career path is something we've never had before, because it was always just a hope, and you hope you understand over a certain amount of time the requirements you need to pass a level 2 or a 3 or a 4 examination and meet the time requirements and all of that. So this really lays out a path. And in a past life, I had a little bit of involvement with a government somewhat supported, somewhat industry supported, the Center for Energy Workforce Development. And because it's a pseudo-government agency, they are the ones that primarily work with the high schools and look for local support from industry, the energy companies and the oil and gas and stuff like that, and the STEM programs. And they are the ones that put together these big career fairs, and so we're hoping to partner with them to have some really neat stuff, like some Tesla coils and some things that really engage the future workforce of the nation to choose this career path as opposed to just going to a 4-year degree.
The portability part of this is really, really important, because it's not a captive, but it's also going to create a poaching for those that just poach and don't actually put skin in the game at the beginning. So it really does. I appreciate the fact that NETA is going to be supporting that, because it really does bring more of the whole community supporting it, and it will hopefully to an extent avoid. Last question I've got for you: when Shermco actually then bought out Southwest, and as I understand it, some people I know they said, hey, let's do something, and they did something. So explain that a little bit. Was it Bob? It was Bob Kane?
No, it was actually Ben Canfield was a buddy of mine, and he worked at Brown and Caldwell for a number of years, and he went out his own and started his own engineering company. And when we at Southwest were too busy, and it's a small community, and he had a certain set of skill sets, and when our guys became overloaded, I could call Ben and say, hey Ben, can you handle this, and here's what we have in it, and we all need to make money. And so Ben's been a good friend of mine for, like I said, as long as I can remember. And then a couple of years ago, I realized I had found out that some of my senior people that had worked with me at Southwest had now gone to work with Ben.
Yeah.
And I am very happy and excited to say that in the process, and I help them with, there's nothing I can really help with. There's no secret sauce as far as going through a NEET application, but they filled out the application, they had their 2-year requirements in, and then most of the people that had left and maintained their CTDs through the years. And it's a good group, and I'm happy to and excited to say that Ben Canfield and his group was one of the most recently accredited NETA companies, and we welcomed them to the association just yesterday, as a matter of fact.
What's the name of the company?
It's Canfield Engineering.
Okay, Canfield Engineering. Oh,
Yeah.
good. Congratulations to him.
Yes, thank
Tell
you.
him we said thank you.
I will do that.
Is Ben here?
He is here.
Okay, tell him to
I will
get in
have
line.
him. I will have him come chat
Okay.
with you. He's a good guy.
All right.
He'll enjoy
Bob
it.
Shepard, thank you so much. Good to see you
Thank
again,
you.
my friend.
Absolutely. We'll keep in touch. Thanks.